I'm gonna try not to fuck up my. Oh God, I'm sorry. I'm gonna try not to fuck up. I'm sorry. Oh, God, I'm sorry. You know I'm not good at things. Oh yeah, I have to talk. Okay, I've got some Tic Tacs in my mouth.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm on this BlizzCon diet. This is like the 3rd month of it. And like, sometimes you just fucking crave sugar, right? So I go for Tic Tacs because I figure, you know, how many calories in one Tic Tac? Less than 2.
I thought commercials used to say it was only like 1 calorie per Tic Tac.
I don't know. That's fucking math, I guess.
What did it say? Does it really say less?
It says less than 2 calories per minute. Right? So, and they're made in Canada, so I trust them.
Okay, really?
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that.
So whenever I need a little bit of sugar, I just pop in some Tic Tacs. It's all good.
If you guys wouldn't mind making some feedback on the echo stuff, please. I can't hear me at all. Okay.
That's okay.
Oh boy, here comes the echo. Here we go.
That's true. You can just do one. You can eat like 2 at a time. Or like 6 at a time.
Mouths and words don't let up. You know, we had that issue last week. Yeah, dude, I'm way tired. It was a long week. I'm glad that shows so clearly on this high definition stream. But yeah, we get have our normal echoing issues here that I'm trying to work through. So keep the feedback coming, guys. And as for the video not matching up to mouths, we had that issue with Skype last week, and then I think it just kind of corrected itself after a little while. I wonder if it just needs to kind of catch up or something. I don't know, man. I freaking hate Skype, honestly.
Fuck Skype. Or not. Like, whatever. Either is fine.
Well, that's good, because I normally have, like, bags under my eyes, like, at all times.
Don't we all?
Do we?
I don't know.
Is that a human thing? And I'm judging myself over it. I'm being a judgy Jason on this.
You mean a judgy douchebag.
No, actually, I don't have Discord video Star Mike special beta testing Lucky Man. Wait, do you have
What
that?
did you just call him?
Do you have that fist? Do you have
No, I
Discord
don't.
video?
No.
No, I think we're not among the
It's because we talked too much shit about it in the beginning. I told everybody that
Don't tell that around.
Okay, I won't.
Let's see. Do you have your Discord open?
Yeah.
Are you like even friends with me on here? Okay. Oh my god. Yeah, I don't see that option at all. I appreciate the suggestion though.
Yeah, we don't have it. Just talk way too much shit.
Yep, that's what we get. They heard, man. They heard, man. Well, how are levels, guys? Okay, Draven, thank you for that. I match, but Fist is about half a second off.
Uh-oh, I better talk slower. Can't talk fast because I look weird.
Yeah, let this, like, force the sound out faster, but move your mouth more slowly.
Okay, that's fine. I can't do
I
it.
know, I tried to do it while singing. I can't do it at all.
I tried.
Pardon me, guys. My mom was texting me. Mom, not now.
Telling you that you're a disappointment.
You have brought shame upon our family. That's how she talks. It's kind of weird, honestly, now that I think about it. Now that I'm sharing that with you guys, you know.
So, can you change the episode title?
I can when we start. Wait, what are you seeing?
Hooking up with Overwatch Heroes Part 2?
No, it should be, it's updated. You might need to reload.
Oh, it's my fault. Because I'm a woman, is that it?
True Villain Manny says that I look nothing like he imagined.
What did you imagine he looked like?
Could you please draw what you imagined?
No, you gotta, like, describe it.
Name which actor you were picturing. You like how I just associate myself with a good-looking actor?
Yeah.
Thanks, Draven. Appreciate the feedback on that.
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
She sounds fine. She looked fine. Oh. Oh, shit.
Don't talk about me.
Hey, look, it's Nameen.
Nah, man. So, are you guys...
Calls. Harsh bud. Sparrow says I look exactly like you imagined, just wearing less leather.
Yeah, how come you're not wearing all that
Hey,
leather?
that's what you think. You can't see my lower half. All right, well, if we're not echoing like crazy, if somebody's not on here complaining about the echo, then I think we're doing well.
I'd say so. Oh, we're early too.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some current events. So, tonight the Mythic Dungeon Invitational is starting at, like, what, 9 PDT or something like that? So it's like midnight
Yeah,
EST.
that's correct.
And I'm excited about that. I think it's China tonight.
China. Do you hear certain countries still, like, I know we're going to get into this when we start talking about,
Yes, I know
Video
exactly what
games,
you're going to
but-
say, and the answer is yes.
how do you know what I'm going to say?
Japan.
All right, chat room, what are we referring to? First one to get it gets...
What was it? United
A
States
shout out.
or something like that. No, it was USA.
Was it?
I think
Yeah.
so.
Something like Clive Owen. Wow. Sweet. I'll take something like...
Let me
Clive
see.
Owen
I don't know who
anytime.
that is. I don't know who that is. Hang on.
Forrest
Google
Gump.
Hey, that does look like you.
Fucking Forrest Gump. Nameen got it. Street Fighter.
That's right.
Nice job, Nameen.
Japan. Whoever did that was just, like, so fucking into it. It's like, if this is all I ever do in my life, it's gonna be good.
You gotta be in voice acting though, right?
Yeah.
It's so funny because I look back at those old games and I'm thinking things like, oh well, they probably didn't have professional voice actors. It was probably just like one of the devs or something. And yeah, no, they probably did have professional voice actors because that's how you actually put things together professionally.
That's kind of ageist of you, you know? It's just
Yeah.
like, oh, that happened in the past, so obviously
Video-
it's not as good as the future.
Video gamist. It's so video gamey of me. Okay.
Japan.
I am looking.
Japan. If I ever go to Japan, I'm gonna be like, Japan. Come on and slam. Welcome to Japan. Bradley, you're from the future? What's it like? Video games in your eyeballs? I mean, I'd go for it. Where else can they put video games? I mean, in your body. Like, where else in your body can put those? Just trying to think, like, it'd be a lot easier for dudes to play video games if they could, like, insert video games into your junk. You know?
What?
If the future put a video game in your junk, it'd
Yeah.
be way easier for dudes.
I still don't get it.
Well, because you've got, like, a natural joystick.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
That was surprisingly bad for you.
you probably do.
It's a good
Well, I
thing
had to
it's the
explain it to
pre-show.
you.
I mean,
I'm just getting warmed up. It's all
that's
good.
cool. Hold on to your butts.
If you just want to make fun of me because you feel bad about having a tiny penis, then that's fine. Like, I get that.
You go straight there.
Yeah, well, I'm on the defensive now. I'm getting a little bit tilt.
Already?
Yes.
Also very unlike you.
Well, you know what?
What?
I don't know.
I just saw your announcement about this in Discord. I'm gonna pre with the dick line next to it. You drew that, right?
I
You
did.
drew that dick?
I drew that dick.
I hope all of you who are in our Discord know that the little wonky dick is
What do you think?
it's a Fist original. Can you imagine if we had those on the buttons for BlizzCon and everybody's walking around with dicks all over them?
I can't imagine that.
and
It's
then-
wonderful.
And then Blizzard would have to be like, okay, guys, like, okay, sorry, BlizzCon attendees, but could everyone please stop with the dicks already? Thank you.
Who would do that though?
Like, who would make that call or who would make that
Yeah.
announcement?
Who would make that call?
I would hope that they would have, Draven. Draven, I saw the rake first and I didn't get it. Now I see your other photo. Sorry. Draven drew me. Put it
Oh,
on
really?
screen. 1 sec. There you go, guys. This is what Draven says. Thought I looked like. I'm sorry.
I mean,
You got the beard, right?
and the big round head.
Watch us get banned for this. Like somehow, like the system.
Well, it is
thinks
naked.
That's true. I was
Actually,
like,
that's
hey.
a funny story. My brother was in grade 1, and my mom got called in to see his teacher about something, and it was about art. And my brother is just, he's shitty at art. Like, he just can't draw anything. If you're watching, I'm sorry, it's true. But so you know how they like force kids to draw in elementary school? He would only draw stick people because he just literally couldn't draw anything else. And my mom got called in to talk to the teacher because she was concerned because all of his stick people were naked. I was like,
Really?
"Bitch, he can't draw anything, let alone clothing. Like, give him a break."
That's savage as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, man.
I don't get it. She was probably dumb.
Sparrow Lurks in chat said, "Little Wonky Dick." That's what I'm naming my next band. You're welcome.
What was I saying? Yeah. You ever like look back on things and just like realize how dumb people were? But like since they were adults and you were a kid at the time, it had to make sense.
Oh yeah, yeah. You took it with a measure of authority that was not that should not have been afforded to them.
Yeah.
Because now that you're an adult, you realize there are a lot of fucking stupid adults.
I mean, myself included, obviously,
Well,
but
clearly, I mean, I'm starting with the man in the mirror on this. Like,
what do you mean clearly?
I said clearly, and then I specifically talked about myself.
You know what? Fuck you.
Listen, joystick pants.
Mine's not in my pants. It's under my desk. But I can't show anybody because it's Twitch.
Rin Mike said Billy just liked to Rule 34 that shit.
Yeah, he did. My brother was like the OG troll. Frasley, everybody on the spaceship died? It's funny. It makes me wonder if like there's some teachers who just like got caught up in, you know, like those mommy blogs,
Yeah.
or like those people who like are probably not qualified to tell people what to do about really important things, like get on the internet horn and start typing about stuff that they think they know about, and then it influences like weak-minded people.
Yeah.
Must have been something like that. It's like, oh, if you have a student who draws naked stick figures, then that means there's something crazy going on at home. So, and I say that based on the thoughts that I have in my head that are probably not based on anything.
Draven had a project in high school art class. It was a cityscape capped off with a nuke exploding in the background. I got pulled into the office because they were worried.
Were
And,
they?
I know you, Draven, so they were worried for good reason. I'm just messing with you. It makes you wonder, like, how much do you really need to be reading into, you know, a child's creativity? Like, I feel like even when they do this in the movies, right? When they're like, the kid's become possessed and now all he draws is like dicks with horns all over him and Satan butts, you know, like. But even in that like extreme example where they're trying to be artful about that as like a example, as like something that's happening to the character, it happens a lot. So like they find the kid like huddling in the corner, shaking and scrawling with his back to the door, and like the fucking whole room is like plastered by this shit. It's not the one photo that they did in art class, you know?
Yeah.
It's fucking all of this shit.
Did you say dick with horns?
Yes. A Satan dick.
Like a cat penis. Everybody
Ah!
Google cat's penis.
No, don't do it.
Do it. It's funny.
Don't do it. Oh.
Frasley says I should start a blog against those blogs called the Anti-Mommy Blog.
Blog.
Blog. Nah, I think you have to actually have a kid to like warrant any respect in that community, you know? But that's not a risk I'm willing to take.
Fair enough. All right.
What?
We're almost at that time.
Oh, hey, you know what we did on the last episode of Laggy Balls that came out this morning? We asked everybody what they look for in streamers and stuff, so we're going to try to take all of that to heart.
Oh, yeah.
Except for the cleavage thing, because my cousin's in the chat and it'd be weird, so
Yeah.
sorry, guys.
A lot of the answers were boobs, and you know what? We agree. But, you know.
I mean, where else on the internet are you going to see boobs? It's like the age-old question, right?
Yeah,
it's like I
like-
have no fucking idea.
It's just really hard to find on the internet, so, you
Yep.
know, how can you blame people for wanting that?
I don't know.
I mean, I don't.
No, of course you don't.
What?
All right, let's do it.
You want to start it up?
Yeah, let's start it.
All right, guys. One moment. Here we go. Boom.
Wait for it. Boom.
All right, I got no music this time, but please don't hit your mic again. It's theater of the mind. We're doing the whole show like this.
Whoa, that's copyrighted, dude.
Oh shit. All right, anyway, go. Welcome back.
Hello, everybody.
Hello and welcome to episode 6 of the LB stream. We are here to talk about our gaming pasts
Yes.
and to hear about some of yours in the chat, which is raging already. We're not even quite at time. We're actually starting a little bit early this week, but we are full. So hi guys, welcome back.
Full of it. Yeah. Hi, everybody.
Full of
What's
it, like
going
usual.
now? You guys, it was like 49 days till BlizzCon. I hope to see most of you there.
Indeed, that would be awesome. We're gonna have to do some sort of like meetup or.
I'm just sort of hoping that people will just like randomly find me.
Well, that too.
I'm probably gonna be hiding in the corner in the shadows with my food, like last year. Because okay, if
Getting
you
caught
guys,
crying by one
yeah,
of the.
I wasn't crying. I was eating.
I love. What
There's
was
a
it?
difference.
What was his reaction? Okay, tell the story again for anybody who
Okay,
doesn't know.
okay, okay. So it was like kind of between. I just finished watching a really great panel, and like so it was like the hall D. That's where the big stuff happens. D for
Where the big stuff
Denus.
happens. Get it?
So you can't bring food in, and it was the first panel of the day, and it was super early, and I was really hungry, and so there's like one thing that vegans can get in the convention center, at least that year, and it was like chips and couscous and hummus, and it was really nice. So I went and bought that, and then I was sitting in the back, and it's usually like really dark in places, and nobody was around me. I was all alone in the dark in a chair, stuffing my face, like just ma. Okay, you know when you go to the movies and you have your nachos, your popcorn, your
Yeah.
ice cream, your ooh, do you guys ever try, like I haven't, but I've seen them, those like Dorito covered Doritos with the Doritos on them, but then there's like cheese inside. So it's just like a triangle Illuminati full of delicious cheese.
Yes.
There's
I know what you're talking
those. But anyway, so you go and you have your food, and then like the lights go down, and then all of a sudden you realize that you're just like eating with abandon, because like it's dark, nobody's looking at you, everybody's looking at the movie. So you're literally just like and like you can't even see what you're doing. So like you're like digging into that popcorn with the whole hand, and when you like you do the roll, it's like I got the popcorn in like a bundle in my hand, and then you just sort of like and then it like goes in from one cheek to the other, and then you're just like oh no, and then you like take the ice cream and you're like and that like wets up the popcorn so you don't choke. Anyway, so I was doing that kind of thing except with delicious vegan food, and this extremely well-meaning security gentleman, he sort of like sees me from a few rows over, and he sort of like meanders his way through the rows of chairs and comes up to me, and I don't notice him at first because it's dark and loud in there, so I like look up and he's standing there, and he's like, "Miss, are you crying?" And I'm like, "Mo, I'm eating." And he's like, "Oh, okay, I'm glad you're all right. I was just worried." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm fine, thank you. It's really nice of you." And it was really sweet of him, but it was just like kind of embarrassing. Like, what do I look like when I'm eating?
No.
I mean, which isn't to say I didn't cry a lot at BlizzCon, because I did.
Well, yeah.
Because it was just so wonderful, but like not at that point.
Yeah.
I was eating delicious food. So that's completely off topic from what we wanted to talk about tonight. So tonight we wanted to sort of like touch on our gaming past. Haunted.
Why is that haunted?
Because it's in the past. Like ghosts are. No, I guess ghosts are like the future version of people.
What?
So hang on, I'm having an existential moment here. Anyway, maybe they're not haunted, but we wanted to talk about like where we started, and I thought that this would be a good topic because everybody has a gaming past.
Yeah.
And for the most part, I feel like within our community, a lot of us are around the same age. I mean, Thorn's so old.
Yeah.
But,
well, I'm the exception, sure.
Yeah, but everyone's kind of around my age. So
This is really a wig. I'm actually balding, and it's all gray.
Really count for anything.
No, I know.
days.
I was just trying to think of something that. Never mind.
Yeah, way to bring it to that place.
Well,
But
to color the conversation starter here a little bit, I've put up the fall 1991 software catalog
wow,
just to get
I
us in the
love that
mood.
photo. The best part is the kid on the couch in the back. He just like he got so hype, and like back then they didn't have like remedies for being too hype. So that kid like is a prime example of just like way too much hype, because that's what happens when you get like wicked hype. You just go and collapse. It's just
Yeah.
like at BlizzCon where I had to go and like lay down a few times because hype is real.
Welcome to
Um,
this week's segment about hype, brought to you by Mountain Dew Kickstart.
I wish.
Not really,
Hey, Mountain Dew, sponsor us.
but that'd be awesome.
So speaking of Mountain Dew, I want to like bring up like the first like sort of like video game memories I have,
Okay.
and that is so I had the pleasure of having a dad who was like super into gaming, and he was always up on the new consoles and stuff like that. So I looked out by proxy because like he would just bring home shit, but not even that. Like he was in a job that forced him that well at the time, yeah, forced him to use computer, and that was kind of unheard of. But sometimes he would have to bring this like hulking Mac PC home from work, and he had this disc, like this floppy disk, like not even like the nice floppy disk, but like the old like paper thin one that you could just like
Ones
fling
that are
around, you know?
actually floppy.
Yeah, exactly. And it was called, the program on it was called Playroom. And Playroom was it would come up on the screen, and it was a room, and it was just like a picture of somebody's bedroom, and you could click on like all of the things in the room and they would all do something. So like you click on uh the picture of like somebody was drawing a picture on the table, and then you click it, and then you go inside the picture and you can play with like shit and you can draw and whatever. And it was all black
That's
and
pretty
white.
cool.
It was very primitive, but like it was the only thing I had back then, and it was just so good. Like spent hours and hours and hours playing that shit, you know?
Yeah.
So, when we got the Sega Genesis, that kind of just like opened the doors, you know? And like
Sega Genesis was fucking dope.
it was dope.
I
It was dope AF.
I had friends who had it like way earlier than me, and one of them had a. This was at PS 209 in Queens, New York. This is a really good friend of mine who had it pretty early. And for whatever reason, he had 2 booklets from the Sonic the Hedgehog game, so he gave me one
Aw.
because I just wanted like anything to do with it's like Blizzard stuff. Like anything
Yeah.
Blizzard is just awesome. So Sega Genesis was just the new hotness, and everybody wanted it, and everybody was getting it, and so like I lived on like this booklet for like days. So go on.
Yeah,
So
no,
Sega
I
came
remember
out what?
Um, I think like the biggest impression that it left on me was just like how feverishly bad I wanted to play it all of the time. And we had like, you know, back then when you'd have like one TV in the house and it was
Yeah.
like the family TV,
Yep.
and it's shitty because like everybody always wanted to use it and I needed to use it for our Sega. So I had this like tiny television. It was like, I don't know, like 10 inches maybe. And it was from like my parents when they first moved in together, like years beforehand. And it was black and white. It had those dials that go like ching, ching, ching,
Oh yeah.
ching,
Yeah, yeah.
you know?
The really
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
Chung, chung,
Yeah.
chung.
And so I'd hook it up to that, and then like all the games would be black and white. But my favorite games by far were Sonic 2.
Oh,
And
man.
you could pop that into Sonic and Knuckles and play Knuckles in Sonic 2. That game, like still, even now, like that game, the music, just like playing it now, it's so like, you know, like you have those games that are just like so wrapped up in your childhood and like a time in your life, and then you just like you play them or you hear the music and you're just like, God damn, I used to be so dumb and small. But having a sweet time. And like the best part about playing the video games was that you could just play, and like you're a kid, and so you're fucking like drinking chocolate milk by the gallon or soda. I don't know how or why my parents let me drink so much fucking soda, but I did. It's just like straight up like a sugary soda all of the time. Just like down in that shit. And then you'd have like a giant bag of chips or Cheetos next to you, like for the longest time until my parents had to change the carpet. I'm sure it wasn't entirely my fault that they changed the carpet, but there was like Cheeto handprints on the carpet because you just be like, because you're a kid, so you're sitting on the floor and you can sit on the floor for like 8 to 9 hours
Oh
without
yeah,
even feeling it, you know?
yeah. You don't even get a sore butt or anything. Like you just
Yeah,
don't.
exactly.
You don't even notice that you're sitting in this uncomfortable way.
Yeah, so just like wiping my fingers on the carpet and the Cheeto dust was real and like the Cheeto dust was like encrusted on like the controller and shit. But I didn't care. It didn't matter. It was just like the games mattered. What was your first console?
My very first one was the original NES, the original Nintendo Entertainment System. Let's see. Both my parents were military, so my mom was stationed in Southern California at the time, in Oceanside, California, and she had this apartment that wasn't terribly great. It was kind of bland. It was like not much on the walls. I think she was kind of there temporarily, or maybe had only been there a little while. And I actually lived. I think maybe I'd just moved back there after living with my grandmother for a year in LA. And so I remember sitting on the floor, and we had the one family TV, right? And it was one of those giant ones that like was too big to put on anything, so it sat on the floor. But it was its own like thing. It was like a table TV,
Yeah.
kind of thing, surface thing. Excuse me.
Ew.
And I got the version. I know there were like multiple versions of the original Nintendo Entertainment System. One of them came with, like they all came with Mario, but one of them came with like a cartridge that was like Mario and Duck Hunt, and some of them had.
Yes, and then the gun, and be like,
Yes,
"Choo-choo, choo-choo."
totally.
Yeah.
But I got the one that was Mario and Gyromite, which I think they eventually like switched out for Duck Hunt altogether.
What's Gyromite?
Gyromite.
Gyromite.
I need to find an image of Rob. But Gyromite was.
We know Rob. He lives with a robot, right?
Yeah. But he was.
I only know him from Smash Brothers 64, which I'm sure everybody else does. Now that I've said that.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't Smash Brothers 64. It was Mario Kart 64. It was some kind of Mario Kart.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Well, here is the photo. So that was the deluxe set, and Rob actually came as a robot in the deluxe set. I couldn't tell you what the hell the point was of this robot. I know he had something to do with Gyromite itself, but if you look at the left side of that, those are actually spinning tops, and the dick-looking thing in the middle between the robot and the gun.
Was that his dick?
No, it was something where you'd take those tops and you'd stick it in the top of that in the hole, and it would spin it really fast.
Why?
I don't know. And then you see how he's holding his hands, his like little robot hands.
He's
You'd
ready
take it-
to accept you.
Take it out of the spinner, and you'd put the top in between his hands, and he'd just hold it,
Okay.
and you'd face him toward the TV. And to this day, I couldn't tell you what the fuck the point was of any of that.
Did you try sticking your dick in it?
Of course.
Okay. Well,
That's
then
the-
I have no
like,
idea.
the
I'm
first
out of
thing I
ideas.
did. Like, don't be
Like,
ridiculous.
If that's what, it'd be fun. You know how like goats, people say goats eat everything because like they don't actually eat everything, but they like use their mouths to try to identify what the thing is that you're
I
showing
thought
them.
you
or
said
whatever.
goatsy.
No, I didn't say goatsy.
That's what I heard. Okay.
Yeah, like goats like nibble things to figure out what they are. Would it be funny if like you just like put your dick on stuff to try to figure out what it was?
You're like a blind person, but instead of feeling things, you just dick them.
Exactly. It's like, hello,
like-
is it me you're looking for? And you're like
Who are you?
touching the face, but like you're just like slapping, you know, like my hand is a dick, and it's just like, you know,
Look,
because like,
Winchester said he heard goatsy too, but
well, maybe I said goatsy.
Michael heard goatsy.
Okay, fine. I said goatsy, but I certainly didn't mean to. Now, can I please just get through talking about slapping people with my dick?
Yes, please.
Thank you. So, you'd be like, you'd probably be in like a permanent state of like being semi, but not really, just because of like how tired you'd be. But I feel like, okay, so you're blind, so that means like your other senses are heightened, right?
Yeah.
So
Like
with,
it basically means that you become Daredevil, right? That's how I understand it.
well, yeah, I mean, according to the Marvel universe, yeah.
That's why I don't feel bad for blind people, because they're like way better at everything than me. Right?
Okay, I mean, according to Marvel, but he was also a lawyer though. But I'm just wondering, like, what if uh your other senses were heightened, but that also means that like your dick sense was always tingling, you know?
My dick senses are tingling.
You know?
Yeah.
So like, you can't see, but your other senses are heightened, so you're trying to figure out like what you're looking at by using your like semi-flaccid dick and just like tapping.
And does it just sound like?
Yeah. Oh, like those
It'd be like a horror flick, and they'd be like hiding in the closet and like hoping to God that they don't hear you coming, and it's like.
Yeah.
Like getting
It's like,
closer and closer.
it's like those like sticky hands on like a string that you get from like those like little quarter things at the grocery store. So it's just like if you whip it and as soon as it sticks in it, it's like it'd be like that. So let's keep talking about our childhood.
Wait, but why was I picturing this like blind person also as like a paraplegic with only the dick moving and like dragging them across the floor when you're
Okay, so now that makes more sense. So this person's in a wheelchair, right?
I don't know why my mind went there, because you only said blind.
No, quite. So, okay, it's a wheelchair. Maybe he can see, it doesn't matter anymore. But his dick's like so long and sticky for some reason that he like ties like a little like lure around it, or not a lure, just like a string, and so he like casts it out and it sticks to the floor, and that pulls his wheelchair further, and then he pulls it back, and then he casts it out again, and then the dick like hits the concrete, and he thrusts to like pull himself in. Yeah,
Like...
and then yeah, and this is a horror movie, and it's called Dictato, the
Dictato.
I don't know. I thought sometimes I trust myself to come up with something funny, and I don't, so I just say the first thing that comes out of my head, which is usually not funny.
Divine
like
said it.
Dictato.
Whose dick isn't long and skinny? Did you
Sticky.
wait? Did you get like? Did that censor you, or did you not write the word dick? Because.
Oh no, everybody's writing dick.
Okay. Oh, okay, good. Yeah. Nah, fair enough.
So anyway, more about our childhoods.
Yeah.
So, you had that sex robot.
Yes, the sex robot was my first.
So how did you get the deluxe version?
I don't think, you know what, I was wrong about this. So I had a friend who lived across the street from my grandmother who had like all the video games and all the systems. He had like everything because his dad was a gamer too. So between the two of them, they had like everything all the time.
Can I just say,
he was the one who had Rob. I didn't have that.
God bless the dads when we were kids.
Yeah.
Who were excited about video games.
Yeah.
And the occasional moms. I did not have a gamer mom in my life. My mom played like Columns, which was like the bootleg Sega Genesis version of
Tetris.
Yep. Or Bejeweled or whatever. So, but yeah, no. Thank you to all those dads.
We have some alternate titles in here. Dick Fishin', Sticky Dick Tracy.
Sticky Dick Tracy.
Paraplegic Dick. And then the sex robot was the thing that's on screen here. That's Rob from Nintendo's NES.
Rip Dictato. That's not funny at all.
Dictato. Dictato the dictator.
Yes.
So, okay. So you got the Sega Genesis, and your mom liked Columns, so she was playing your Sega Genesis.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah. It was pretty great, but I don't think she really liked it.
Listen, Robert Wing, you knew what you're getting into by coming here, buddy. I don't feel bad for you.
Way to call somebody out.
Look, this is how this goes, all right? This is the point. This is what we do, all right?
I mean, Do you think that anyone's ever got their dick stuck in that Nintendo gun before?
Are you kidding me? Of course. Listen, there have got to be like one of those Tales from the ER like episodes or whatever about that, because they're about so many stranger things than that. Because like I swear everybody as a kid either had that gun or had a friend who had that gun,
Yeah.
and like I've done worse things to my friends' toys than that. So
Oh, were you the kid who'd go over to your friend's house and
No,
stick your
I'm
dick in their toys?
no, I just
That's
thought it was
weird, man.
I
Like,
just
why
thought it
wouldn't
was
you just
funny
have
that
sex with your own toys? Is it like the thrill of getting caught? Is that it? Like, I don't get
I
it.
guess. I mean, what if it's like a Russian roulette plunge?
I don't get that.
Never mind.
Okay. So, like I said, my dad was working with computers and stuff like that, and eventually, he upgraded to a laptop, and that's when Warcraft came out, and so I got to
Nice.
play it. So I've literally been playing Warcraft,
Which Warcraft?
the first one.
Warcraft 1.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah. And so I've just been playing, like, I've literally been playing this game, well, this franchise, since the beginning, luckily. But we also got, so as awesome as that was around the time that like Disney video games were a thing. And
Oh,
I don't know
God.
if you guys ever played console Disney games back in the day.
Oh God.
I'm talking Lion King, I'm talking Aladdin, I'm talking fucking Pocahontas, which was my personal favorite.
You mean all of those ones that had one thing in common?
Yes. And that thing was that they were fucking impossible.
They were impossible. They were crazy hard.
Yes, just like me right now. Insanely hard. But yeah, no, like those games were just like notoriously awful. Like Lion King, for example. You play the first level, it's fine. You're Simba. You're jumping around, squashing bugs and like watching out for porcupines and shit.
Something innocent?
Yeah, and you beat the level, no problem.
Yeah,
But
because the
then-
first level is specifically easy, right? Like to get you in the
Exactly.
mood and
Exactly, just sort of
introduce
like
you.
yeah, show you what the mechanics are. So you go for the second level and you're thinking, okay, this is like a slow ramp up. Like I understand the porcupine thing. I kind of get the controls. This will be fine. It's not fine. It's not fine.
It's not fine.
It's not fine. No. It's a horrible level. You have to jump onto giraffes and then like fuck with things to make them turn a different way, and you have to like fuck with like rhinos and shit, and then you get like booted into the air, and then there's this tree with monkeys on it, and you have to like shout at the monkey, to make them switch positions, and then you like throw your whole life into this monkey's arms, and you have to like sort of like hope that this fucking monkey like throws you at another monkey, because if you didn't tell the monkey to turn a certain way, that fucking monkey is gonna throw you into your grave, motherfuck. Like you're gonna die like you were a dead lion. It just goes on like that, and then you end up on top of a fucking ostrich who's like clearly like unqualified to like carry you around, and then
Unqualified.
unqualified, and he fucking just like flings you, and it's just like it was the kind of game, like those Disney games were the kind of games that like you would rent and you'd play for a little bit, but then like you would get so little kid tilt that you would literally just start crying. You remember that when you'd get like so tilt as a kid that you start
yeah.
crying and screaming because
Yep.
you can't like control your emotions? I know a lot of people who are still like that. I played some Overwatch today and that's exactly what was happening. But no, like it was just like that. And like as I said, Pocahontas was my favorite one because it was doable, like it was okay, but like it was still fucking hard. Like it wasn't just like a side scroller like most of the games were back in the day. It was like side scroller, but you have to climb things and you have to go find things and you have to like backtrack and like figure out where things are, and like switch main player from Pocahontas to Miko the raccoon to do certain things and
Oh
shit
my
like that.
God.
And then it like the point of the game was like you're supposed to go through the game and collect abilities from animals, and so you would have to use those abilities to get through the game, and then like by the time you were finished you had like a bunch of abilities. So like I just feel like Disney gave us way too much credit for shit that we just clearly weren't capable of doing. And I remember playing that game You know when you were a little kid and you'd wake up really early because you were excited about shit?
Yeah.
Like that
Oh
doesn't
yeah.
happen anymore.
No.
It doesn't matter what I'm excited
Yeah.
about. Like I'm not getting up.
Right.
Fuck that. It's like you wake up on Christmas morning as a 30-year-old and you're like, oh, I'm so fucking tired. And then you go back to sleep. Like it doesn't matter. Because your heart is dead. Like, no, I just don't fucking care anymore. But
Oh. Because your heart. You casually mentioned because your heart is dead.
well, I don't care anymore.
Jesus.
But yeah, so I'd like, get up, play Pocahontas because we never actually bought it. Like, why would you buy it? So we'd rent it. So I'd get up to play it as much as possible. But like, I would just end up in tears and then have to like make my dad do it for me, and he would have a problem with it. So I'm just like, that's like a very long tangent about how shitty but also awesome Disney games were, and like I'm still afraid to play them now, although I'm sure I could.
Well, if you look at chat, you are clearly not alone in this because some of them were talking about like what a great job you were doing of explaining that first level of the Lion King, and it looks like there's some other people who have similar experiences. By the way, here's a GIF for you.
Thank you.
Those Disney games are bullshit, full of rage and salt, and that's straight up what you were saying.
Yeah.
They were the kind that would cause you to throw the controller, right? Or did you ever do that thing? Did you play much of the original NES?
Yeah.
So the square controller,
Yeah.
where you just like get angry and you just go like you're gonna snap it in half, but just a little bit. You just like, and it would make that little.
Yep. But
sound,
like
just a little
nothing
bit.
would break it. Like nothing. Like those controllers are still like as good as they ever were.
Yeah.
Except they're just encrusted with like little kid grease.
She'll tell us how hard she is in front of her cousin, but we can't see Thorne's cleavage because he's here.
You know.
I don't know if I was just a noob, but I still have nightmares of Emperor's New Groove on PS1, says Worksdog. See? It kept going. That's well beyond this original stuff. Now that's PS1.
Yeah.
Javen was talking about how much he was playing PS2. Like these things, I don't think the difficulty. Like, have they gotten the memo on this yet? Like, because there's plenty of Disney games still around, right? Like, I couldn't say I've touched one in at least a week, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah. Don't touch things. Don't touch them. But speaking of my cousin, his name is Rinmick in this chat room. But he was like, aside from my dad, he was like the main video game influencer in my life growing up, and he would just bring over like all these video games that I'd never heard of, and he would bring over cheat codes. And because he had all the magazines and shit. Like, remember you had to wait for a magazine,
Oh yeah.
like a game magazine, to come out with all the cheat codes and shit like that?
Yeah, like
and so-
Nintendo Power.
Yeah, shit like that. So like he'd come over with Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, and he'd do all the fatalities and stuff. And it was just like, it was so cool because like when you're a kid back in the day and you only had one fucking television and one gaming console, like whatever was on the screen, like that's what you're doing that night, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
It's like, yeah, or my dad would print them because he was the only person with internet at work back in the day, which was really
Awesome.
cool. But yeah, it was just like, I think there was like a South Park episode about this, like 2 seasons ago or last season or something like that. But like they were talking about how like the living room is dead, you know, like who's gonna sit in the living room and watch the same thing?
Yeah.
And participate in the same thing. Like you don't do that. Like if you want to watch somebody play video games, obviously you just come here to Twitch. But like back then it was like you had to wait for your turn. And if somebody was doing really well in the video game, you would just back off and
Yeah.
let them do it because, you know, they were on a roll and you wanted to see the content in the video game. So it was just like, I don't know. I feel like if that were to happen nowadays, it would be like a weird thing and I wouldn't know how to handle that, you know?
Which part?
It's just like, you know, when you have like a get together or a party and then everybody is sort of like socially forced to like hang out in the same room and sort of like talk amongst themselves and shit.
Yeah.
I feel like nowadays that's kind of forced, but back then it was just the way it was. So if you get a video game going with your friends or your cousins or whatever, that's essentially a party. Like you're having a party now. Like this is the party time. And then you'd have like chips and pop and shit like that.
Yeah.
So just like, I think if you were to do that nowadays, you would have to say, hey, everybody, let's sit in my living room and play the same game together. And everyone would be like, why?
But that's just graduated though. What do you call Rock Band? What do you call Mario Party? Those are all people playing games together.
You're right. Maybe it's just because I'm not a console person. Like
Well,
it's weird
okay,
to me.
fair enough though. But you got me thinking about something.
Okay.
Maybe this is
Uh-oh.
why something like Twitch exists, because we all spend a lot of time watching other people play games when we were kids,
That's true.
and now we're just like that's. It's just moved out of the living room.
Because it's okay, so Twitch is essentially the one person who was way better at the game than everyone else was, because there's always that one person who's way better.
Yeah.
Or your dad, because dads are always way better. So that's what Twitch is, and we are all just like the kids hanging out on the couch or the floor, eating Cheetos, wanting to see the content.
There you go.
know?
Yep.
That's what it
And
is.
some of us like weren't comfortable playing in front of other people, right?
Really?
Like you, yeah. I like depending on the game, right? Like some of it was like, let's say you're hanging out with a friend or like a bunch of friends, and maybe this was a little bit of this situation in particular for me, or maybe it was just like the group of friends I had at the time, because we moved around a lot and that friend group would change and it wasn't always the same. But for this group of friends in this particular instance, I'm remembering we were playing Street Fighter 2 on Sega Genesis, I want to say. Yeah, it was Sega Genesis because that was the era.
Nice.
And we were all over at my buddy's place. We were all playing this, and like there were people who were just like didn't want to play, and then there were other people who totally wanted to play. And then I remember asking someone like, "Hey, why don't you want to play?" And they're just like, "I'm not good."
Aww.
I'm like, "Yeah, so what?" But like that's how you could still play. And they're like, "No, I'll just lose." And it's just like that was totally a piece of it. Like that's totally part of it. So part of it was interesting to watch because they were really good, or the matches went really long because the two really good players playing against each other, kind of thing. And nobody wanted to be embarrassed in front of everybody else by just getting their ass handed to them.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. And that still exists in a lot of places too. It's like some of my friends are really, really good at Overwatch, and I don't really care to play with them because I'm just not as good, And like that's a whole other, like that's an MMR thing and shit. But like, it's also embarrassing,
Defined. And no, what's a fanboy, dude? Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, but okay. So for me, like after the Sega Genesis and like the SNES and all that, like what came out but the the Nintendo 64. That was a huge
Hell yeah.
one for me. That was a huge console, and like that came out in a time in my life where playing video games became I don't know, just like way more prevalent in my life, I guess, just because of like random circumstances. But that's so 64 comes out, fucking what? Zelda comes out, fucking
Mario 64.
Mario 64, Mario Party. What else was really huge? Banjo-Kazooie. I don't know if it was like super huge or whatever, but like yeah. So Remix says Mario effing Party. So like my dad, my brother, my cousin Mike, and I, we would play Mario Party. Like our lives depended on it. Like it was so much fun, and it was just a way to like bond with my family and shit like that. But that console, fucking GoldenEye, like people still play that shit.
Yeah, hell
like,
yeah.
It's so good. Like N64 was just a total game changer, and I think it's because it offered a larger variety,
Yeah.
of games. Like with the SNES and like with the Sega Genesis and stuff. Like, despite what Disney fucking thought, like most of them were just like side scrollers or shooters or whatever, and you couldn't get much farther from that. But when N64 came out, it was just like there could be anything. There could be literally anything. Like you can fly, you can shoot, you can do a board game style game, you can do an FPS style game. Fucking Pokemon Snap, like that one comes to mind because it was so innovative at the time, wasn't it? Like there are hardly any games like that, really.
Where they're taking like a franchise you knew and doing something completely different with it, or the action of taking photos within the game.
Both. Didn't like Pokemon Snap come out with like this like weird like thing that you'd put onto your controller, and it kind of looked like a rumble pack, but it was actually a tiny printer that would print out your photos?
I think so. That sounds familiar.
Yeah, that was really cool too. I never
yeah,
had
because
that,
there was
but it
some
friggin' sweet.
There was some little camera that had the same sort of thing too, right? Where
Yeah.
with the shittiest quality little crap ass photos. Like you take a selfie and before anybody knew what a selfie was, and it just like looks like absolute shit. And you're like, look, and your friend's like, whoa,
Oh my God, it's me.
no way.
But didn't N64 have that thing on the controller where you could pop in your Game Boy Color cartridges? That was another thing, fucking Game Boy Color.
Yeah, I don't know.
That was amazing. My dad got me and my brother both Nintendo Game Boy Color, and it was the Pokemon edition, so it was bright yellow with like a Pikachu on it
Nice.
and shit. Yeah, it was freaking sweet. And then
What
came
was-
with Pokemon Yellow.
What was the difference between the Game Boy Color?
And the regular Game Boy,
Yeah, was
there
in-
was color.
in color on the screen, or it just wasn't that colored?
It was colored on the
Handheld?
screen. Yeah, and it was like nicer. Like it was like a nicer shape. Like the original Game Boy was like literally like a brick, you know.
Yeah.
And then the color was a
It was
little
all-
sleeker than that.
Like an LED screen,
Yeah.
like with just one color,
But it
like
was
black
still-
on gray.
But it was still shitty. Like my brother had this like
the color didn't help much.
No. Fucking like there shouldn't have been any color. What it needed was a backlight. But so like my brother had this thing that he got from the dollar store, and it was like this giant magnifying thing, like for old people trying to read books, and you'd like click it onto your Game Boy.
I had that.
Yeah, and then
I
it
had
would
that.
roll over, and then it had a light, so you
I
could
had
see
that
what the fuck you
exact
were
same
doing.
one.
Yep. Cause like they couldn't light it up, or so, I don't know. It seems so obvious, but back then it was just like I need this to play in the dark, and if the power goes out and shit. So
I totally had that. What the fuck was I playing on that? Kirby's Dream Land.
Oh really?
That's what I was playing on that.
Wow. I didn't
loved
play
that
a lot
game.
of Kirby.
I beat the shit out of that game.
I bet you did. I bet you beat the shit out of yourself too that game.
Shut up.
We all know how much you love Kirby.
And he sucks really hard.
That's what I'm saying. Do you think Kirby would suck too hard? Like, is there?
Oh yeah.
Can you suck too hard? Like, he sucks so hard that he like takes on the essence of the thing that he sucked.
Really? Is that what happened?
Yeah. What game was that? Was that Smash Brothers? Is that Smash Brothers? No, it's probably just Kirby, but like
Yeah.
doesn't Kirby like ingest?
It's I think both. Not the original Kirby's Dream Land. In the original Kirby's Dream Land, he depending on what he sucked, it would determine what he blows.
Oh yeah. Do you
Like-
know like that could be like a metaphor for life. It's like depending on what you suck, that's what you're gonna blow.
Yeah.
Little Jimmy, punch him in the face,
Little
arm,
Jimmy.
shoulder.
Poor little Jimmy. What an unfortunate name.
Poor Jimmy.
Priest Drago says he still owns his original Game Boy brick. That's pretty impressive, honestly.
It is.
Does it work? Because like, oh, and then the Tandy. Somebody brought up the '80s and the Tandy. I remember standing around in an electronics store, like a it wasn't a Radio Shack. It was like a standalone one or whatever. But it was in a mall, and we were in there for some reason. God knows what my parents were doing at the time.
They're probably looking at VCRs.
Probably. That's very likely, honestly. So I, however, was like in awe of this fucking Tandy.
What's a Tandy?
It's a gaming
Reminds me
computer,
of
like an
Tendies.
early gaming computer. It's like Wang computers. But like, yeah, it was just a really old, really kind of crappy. I mean, by today's standards, obviously, but at the time, it was a Tandy, and for like a split second, Tandy existed, and then it was gone.
Shit. Rip Tandy.
I feel like Tandy was maybe the early attempt at gaming computers, because they were probably computer nerds who were like, consoles, huh? Yeah, I got something better than that. It's called a PC.
Yeah.
So let me just give you one of those, and we'll call it something special, and then we'll, Oh my God. Have you seen me play Overwatch? I suck harder than Kirby.
Yep. But
Top loading VCRs. Spy versus Spy. Okay, I have a story about Spy versus Spy.
all right.
I got it for, I think that was on the NES. I was a Mad Magazine reader, so I liked Spy versus Spy. I was familiar with the brand and everything. And I got the game, I had one of those like best days ever where like, like your mom buys you like 2 games at the mall or whatever,
Whoa.
right? Like you came home with like 2 fucking new games. And like, I swear one of them was like Domino's had this thing called like the It was like this little dude in like a really weird looking like little troll type looking dude with like a kind of
Was
a
in
rabbit.
Trolls?
No, it was like a kind of a rabbit outfit or something. The Noid is what he was called.
Ah.
This was old Domino's branding, and they made a game out of it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Michael knows the Noid. Dude, that's so weird. And so they made a game out of it. I want to say, I'm pretty sure the 2 games I came home with, and it's probably the reason I got 2, because they were 2 really shitty games that were probably on sale. So, but I didn't care because I came home with 2 fucking games, right?
Dude, I worked at Domino's back in the day. My boss had a tattoo of the Noid on his leg.
Wow.
What a loser. Anyway,
Wow.
continue.
Yeah, so it was a shitty game with the Noid in it. I probably played it like 5 times and then never touched it again because it was horrible. But the Spy vs. Spy was the other game. Couldn't tell you how much I liked that or not. I played it like a few times, went to bed that night, woke up the next morning, went to school, came back excited as hell to play my games again. Mom, where's my new game? And she's like, I took that back. I returned that. And I was like, what are you talking? Why? Why would you do that? This is my new game. Apparently, I woke up screaming bloody murder and had a horrible, horrible nightmare that the Spy vs. Spy guys were trying to kill me.
Okay. And so she took it back because
Like-
you had a dream?
No, it was not a dream. Apparently, according to her, to hear her tell it, I fucking freaked the hell out. Like
You
it
know,
must have been
that
some
wouldn't
sort of like,
surprise me, actually.
why?
'Cause you're kind of a wimp.
Thanks.
You're welcome. I'm
Hey,
sorry.
somebody mentioned Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. Did you play that?
Yeah, of course. I
Oh
hated
my
it.
God,
I hated that
you
game.
hated that game? I
Did you-
fucking loved that game.
Did you guys have the show too, like that live action show?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
I don't know. Did you check your house? Was that the lyric? I don't know.
Yeah, totally. See, you know.
There is a lady in my house. Who is this woman? She's got a hat and it's pulled down like that. And I'm like, get out of my house. They
Yeah,
called
and the show
cops.
had this woman in it.
They called the cops on this woman. Who are you? Yeah, I didn't like the game.
You didn't like
It
the
wasn't
game?
fun. Nah. Oh
They made
yeah,
it-
that lady.
Yeah, she was like the person who was assigning you and then sending you across the world to go find the clues for Carmen Sandiego. They had a competition for that show at my school. You had a chance to like win your way onto it.
Were you on that show?
No, I was not.
Well,
I really wanted to be though because I knew my geography pretty well at the time. So I remember watching the kids like run around like they were told the state or whatever, and then they were supposed to run around with this little I don't know, telephone pole looking
okay.
thing, and like slam it down on the map in the right place, and it would only light up if they got it right. So I
that
desperately
sounds-
wanted to do that because I thought like I would.
You
Just
wanted to
absolutely kill it.
slam your pole?
I wanted to slam my pole. It looked just like this. Here you go.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, that game was dumb.
No way. I
It was stupid.
disagree wholeheartedly. In fact, that game I think was one of the single best ever executions of an educational game, which is maybe why you hated it because it wasn't like a traditional
yeah,
type of game. There was like,
learning things. Learning is stupid.
but I would say it's up there along with Oregon Trail, where there's hidden lessons in the whole thing. Except I didn't feel like in Carmen Sandiego that they weren't particularly hidden. I felt like I knew I was being tricked into learning, but I didn't mind because I was having a good time. Because those were like, you'd have to go talk to somebody and they'd be like, yes, I saw a woman with auburn hair pass by. I don't know what fuck auburn means. I was in 3rd fucking grade. Auburn? The fuck is auburn? It sounds like autumn. What? That's not the same thing. What the fuck does auburn mean? Then you gotta pull out the little encyclopedia thing that comes with the game. It came with a fucking encyclopedia. And
I
you'd
feel
like
like
look up
that's
what that
stupid.
means. But it was teaching you to like research that. It was teaching you to Google before there was Google.
You know what? I don't want to learn while I'm trying to have fun, okay? That's what nerds do.
You were just talking about all the cheat codes you guys were using. This was exactly the same
Hey.
thing. You were literally looking up the answer.
No, because... Shut up.
All right, so if you didn't like Carmen Sandiego, what did you like instead?
For what console?
I
What are
don't-
we on now?
I think Carmen Sandiego was actually on PC. I remember playing that on a computer at school.
Very. Okay, well, I don't know. As far as PC games went, like back in the day, like I had Lion King on PC. I stole a game from my cousin Mike. Sorry, Mike.
He's fucking here.
I know, right?
What game?
It was called 3D Movie Maker, and
Okay.
it was fucking awesome. It was so great. Okay, so it was just like it came with like a ton of different computer generated scenes, and then you could pick from like millions, not millions, but like a ton of props, and then people and things like cars and shit. And yeah, I totally did take that. I'm sorry, I don't know how I ended up with it, but it was so sweet. So like you'd pick, okay, so let's say you pick the scene and it's like um
Is that it?
a city street. No, that's not it.
Okay.
So it's like a city street, and you pick a car. And so you pick the angle on like where you want the map to look from, and then you pick a car. You can make it as big or small as you want, and then like it would you would just like go through each scene and like make the car move forward if you wanted it to move forward, and then you could make it look bigger or smaller or whatever, or like turn around or whatever. So like it was so it left so much up to like what the user wanted to do, and it was just it was like my first taste of editing and like being creative on a computer, and
Yeah.
like all of the things that you could do on a PC versus just a console. So like
How were the graphics? Like, was it this?
it was great back then, but um they're probably shitty nowadays. But it's
Well, of
just
course.
yeah,
Everything.
that's it.
That's it?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Let's make it bigger.
So like look at all the options you've got there.
That's a lot
Like
of
you
options.
could pick all of these people, you could like customize all of the things and people and places, like you could give them voice lines and stuff. Like it's basically just editing a video,
That's pretty cool.
except yeah.
And that's like, it looks like there's a ton of options in there. That's actually like,
Yeah, you could even like
way more than I
record
thought
your
it would
own
be.
voice to give them like voices and shit.
that's pretty sweet.
I know, it was way ahead of its time as far as I know, but it was just like a friggin' sweet game. Um
That's like how somebody like Taron Gregory started, and now he
Yeah.
does cinematics for Blizzard.
and now he's Twitter's darling. Isn't it cute how just like he's so sweet on Twitter and everybody just loves him,
He
and it's just
is.
like a total love fest around Taron Gregory?
Just the nicest.
Anyway, so after that came out the PS1, or like just the PlayStation, and that was kind of like my brother's thing. Like he wouldn't really let me touch it, but I played a lot of Spyro on it.
Spyro.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
In chat, this game's so nice you'll steal it from your family.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god, NBA Jam! Oh my god.
What was
NBA
NBA
Jam was nuts.
Damn.
NBA Jam, have you ever heard somebody exclaim, "He's on fire"?
No. I've heard Get Out of the Fire
No.
because I'm range DPS,
Older.
but
Older.
oh, okay.
Yeah. There was a NBA Jam, and like it looked funky and like, was kind of lame graphics, but it was like a really, really hot game. Like it was, everybody played it, and like you kind of like couldn't avoid it. Like everybody knew it and everybody played it, and like it was, since it's basketball, it was probably much more of a guy thing,
Oh,
to be
are
fair.
you just like insinuating that
I said
women don't like
probably
basketball?
more of.
No, I don't
probably-
get. You're probably right. Like I literally
Probably
just
why you don't know it, but everybody knows it though. Like it was a really big one. So yeah.
Winchester says that he liked the cheat code that making all the players' heads huge.
Yeah.
Wasn't
The
there an
heads were
option to
fucking
do
huge.
that in GoldenEye as well, like big head mode? or
Yeah.
whatever?
It totally was
Yeah.
big head mode.
Yeah, that's like funny all across all platforms. Like that's just funny. Like stuff with big heads. That's funny.
Yeah.
That's a funny thing.
I feel like devs did that by accident, and there was some sort of like mistake, and then they realized like how funny it was to play it that way. Yeah, Platinum
just
Monkey
looks-
knows. He said, "Boom shakalaka," because like there were all these commentators, so everything you did had like an announcement that went with it. So like to be on fire in that game meant that you like scored like 2 or 3 times in a row or something like that. It was like multiple scores in a row without the other team scoring. So if it was, let's say it was 3, because I don't remember. When you got to the second one, the commentator would be like, "He's heating up," and your fucking shoes would start to like smoke a little bit. And then when you get like the 3rd in a row, they'd be like, "He's on fire," and then your feet would like be on fire or something like that, and you'd leave a trail of smoke behind you as you like
Oh, cool.
flip through the air and super slam it in front of.
Yeah, I never
your
touched
friends.
sports games because I thought they were dumb.
Yeah, fair enough.
Guess I missed out. But
No, we just filled you in. It's cool.
Yeah, I totally got filled in just there. um, so after that, I think was GameCube. I think um, GameCube and I had a special relationship. That was Animal Crossing. That was WarioWare. That was Harvest Moon when I got introduced to Harvest Moon.
Nice.
Do you remember? Was it WarioWare? Is that what it was called? It was that game that just like it was just like a ton of like mini games and it would
Yep.
just go by really 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 quickly.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
And they were all
I
nuts.
loved it.
Like they're all just completely random and fucked up.
Yeah, and some of them were really really hard and some of them were super easy. Oh, I loved it. I don't know why. It was so fucking like manic and I miss that game.
Yeah,
And then
they redid it for the Wii.
really?
They did. It was really good.
Interesting. Yeah, no, it was just such a good game. And then I played Harvest Moon in one night. Like I did the whole thing. I just like when
Which
you
one's
get
Harvest
obsessed. Is it Harvest Moon or am I thinking of something else?
Well, I don't know. That's probably.
It's
I just
it's
don't
the
know.
franchise where like you get left a farm and then you farm on your farm and then you have to like pick a chick to marry. And in that specific one for GameCube, I was going after like the chick that like did not want to get married and did not want to stay in the town that I was in. But like it was appealing because like she didn't want me. So I was just like,
How do I make this happen?
yeah, how do I make this happen? And then like we finally so the sun's coming up because I've been playing all night. And I finally get her to marry me and then we immediately have a kid, right?
Yeah, because video games.
Exactly. And it's just like all of a sudden this game has lost all like it's luster for me. I'm just like, oh great. Not only do
Now
I have
there's
to
a
take
fucking
care
kid.
of all my fucking cows and shit, but now I have a baby and a wife that like freaking hates me because I made her stay in this town because I knocked her up and married her.
You learned some harsh lessons at it. How old were you around then?
I don't know, like
what grade?
late teens, something like that. So I don't know. But yeah, so I really liked GameCube, but shortly thereafter, I think I might be getting this wrong, but that's when PS2 came out, and that was a real game changer. Like that console, that was fun for way longer than I think anybody anticipated. Just with like Grand Theft Auto, and most importantly to me, Katamari
I know where you're
Damacy.
going with it, and oh my god,
My God, that game. That game.
that game is so fucking
If you've
good.
never tried Katamari Damacy, you have to try it. It's just
I'm putting it up.
it's just like one of those games where every single thing in the game is something that you've never experienced before. Like you would never even dream of it, you know?
Okay, I put a GIF up. You have to explain what it is for those who don't know.
Okay, so the little dude on the side is like the prince of the universe, and his dad of the universe got drunk one night and fucked everything up. Just like ruined the constellations.
Yeah.
So he sends his little baby, he's not baby, but he's shaped like one, like a tiny little, tiny, like he's like the size of a tack, I guess. So he sends him to Earth to pick up shit from Earth to rebuild the constellations. And he gives him a Katamari to roll up. And so like whatever the Katamari touches, as long as it's smaller than the Katamari itself, it'll pick up. So you start small and then you just keep picking up little things and then you get bigger so you can pick up bigger things and then you get bigger and pick up bigger things, and by the end you're picking up buildings and pieces of land and tornadoes and shit, and like you can pick up people and they scream and it's hilarious.
But in like weird comical ways, not horrible ways.
And it really utilized the like the entire PS2 controller, because like you have to like use both your thumbs and like both of the joysticks at the same time and then like alternate them and stuff sometimes. It was just like it really just took the PS2 and said like, what can we do to like completely push every button, you know, like figuratively. So but like the best part of this game by far was the soundtrack, funnily enough.
Oh my god, the soundtrack was so good.
It's just, if you've never tried that game, like you have to try it. It's just a total experience. Like there have been like other games in the franchise, but that one in particular, like I remember I loved it so much that like one year on New Year's Eve, I was like 19 or something, or 18 or whatever. 17? No, it was 18. Doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. But what I'm trying to illustrate here is like I stayed in on New Year's to play that game by myself while all of my friends were out at a party. Like
Katamari is what you stayed in to play?
Yeah. I couldn't party. I couldn't, like, I was like a cool teenager going to a party with my friends. Nuh-uh. Not even, like, my boyfriend was there too. I didn't go. You know why? Because I needed to stay home to play Katamari.
Oh man.
And that's just the kind of person I am. You know?
And to this day,
Mm-hmm.
she'd still tell you all to go fuck yourselves to stay home and play video games.
Yep.
No offense, it's just video games. I mean,
Yeah.
what are you gonna do?
Luckily for me, Blizzard has made it very easy for me to have friends and also play video games at the same
Yes.
time. Because if that wasn't a thing, I would have no friends. But I'd probably still be really happy.
Yeah. But so, like, this is one of those examples where the game is super easy to understand. And you can beat it because you just have to roll things, right? But there is an actual, like, mechanic to it, and the controllers are what made it interesting, and both interesting and mechanically difficult, but also very good at the same time, just like this was saying. But it's the whole experience. It's the fact that the art is crazy, that the story is nuts, that the action that you're doing is insane, even in its simplicity. And the soundtrack, all fucking day. I still listen to the goddamn soundtrack like once every couple of months.
Yeah, me too.
It's awesome to work to. It's all, what, K-pop? J-pop?
Not even. It's like it's all different
Not pop.
genres.
Yes,
No,
I'm
it's
sorry.
all different genres,
Right.
but it's all in Japanese.
Japanese.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
And apparently, like, after researching this, the all the Japanese artists who were involved in this were like big time artists in Japan.
Yeah, that's
so,
why
like,
it's so good. Like, they really just poured a lot of talent
It
into
was
this game.
really good. Really good. I don't know what the fuck they're saying at all. Except that they'll say, like, katamari damashi, like, every once in a while, and then you're like, I recognize those words.
Oh, really? Someone is the creator humming at his desk? 'Cause I don't even. I
Yeah.
believe that. I believe
yeah.
that. It's just
I know that
like
song.
the,
The
It's
part where
like-
he goes, no, 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 no.
It's just- it's like with some movies and some albums and some TV shows, like things along that line.
Yeah.
As well as some videos or video games that you can tell that, like, there were people on the team of that video game who just had like a different vision or like a quirkier way of looking at things, or maybe didn't take like the same route that most people do when they're creating something like a video game or a TV show or something. And like it usually means that like those games are just going to be completely relevant for years, you know? Like it's nice to have lots and lots of video games that come out all the time and offer loads and loads of content and stuff, but it's the games that like are unique and really cared about by the people that make them that stand the test of time, and Katamari is one of them.
Yeah.
Obviously all of the Blizzard games are examples, but yes.
Listen to you fangirl in the
I
obviously
can't
all
help
of
it.
them.
I can't help it. So we're out of time. But we will be back next Friday with another topic. It's kind of cool. We hardly even got through all of this topic, which
Yeah.
is nice.
Yeah, and people are saying things like Stardew Valley, which is newer, and I that's on my list on Steam. I totally need to try that. There's clearly some we didn't even touch on things like Toe Jam and Earl. There's so much we missed that were classics that were awesome. We only mentioned Street Fighter 2 in passing. We didn't even touch Mortal
I know.
Kombat. There's
Oh,
so
so
much. So I don't know. I'm sure we'll come back to this another time, if not next week or something like that.
Yeah.
Let us know separately, guys, if this was a good type of topic, if this was something that you enjoyed hearing about and participating in. Also, let us know if you have any suggestions for topics, because we're definitely
Yes,
open to that.
please.
And you all have homework. Anybody who owns a PS2, your homework is to get a hold of Katamari. If you haven't played it, especially if you haven't played it, oh my God, it has the Thorn stamp of approval, 100%. I never played it as a child, so I'm not even speaking of it from a, having a great memory about the thing that I want to bring forward now and thrust upon you. I'm talking about current thrusting right here.
That's way too much.
If I were to show you, we would get banned.
There's a lot that you guys aren't looking at right now that would get
There's a
us
whole lot.
banned. There's like so much.
Yeah.
Like I haven't been wearing pants for like a week. But anyway, Azeroth Roundtable is on currently. I think they're doing their pre-show, so you should definitely check that out. It's a very special episode tonight. I mean, all the episodes are special, and the hosts are indeed very, very special. Especially one in particular, it's like really special. I'm trying to make fun of John, but
Okay.
it's not coming across that way. But go check that out. And oh, the Mythic Dungeon Invitational starts tonight too. So if you guys are curious, that's going to be on the Warcraft Twitch channel. So if you're already here, you may as well watch it later. So yeah. Oh, and is the Epic Fail podcast on tonight as well? Because that Friday is such a good night for watching stuff.
Really is.
It is so hard. But yeah, so we'll see you guys next Friday. Thank you so much for watching, and we love you.
We love you guys.
Inappropriately.
Thanks, guys.
I licked my microphone.
Ah.
Tasted weird, like a sandwich.
Bye, Felicia.